Hello, everybody. It's Jemima, the Connection Coach, and I'm here this morning with Greg Fearon, the mind and body coach for women who want $1 million body. And I'm really excited to speak to him, mostly because he changed my mind. And that's quite hard to do. So he changed my mind, and my mind was quite set on men do not tell women what to do with their bodies. And A, he doesn't. And B, he actually knows what he's talking about. So I'd love for you to listen in on our conversation as we get to know each other a little bit better. So, Greg, thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
coming to this chat. And that's 100% true. That is, and I've seen it follow you around on social media. I've seen other women be like, "Oh no, why should I listen to you? You're a man. You don't know." Da da da. And I get it. Like, I really get it. So I guess my first question to you would be, like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that without just getting so triggered and being like, ah?
There's a very old Jamaican kind of saying, right? So my parents are both from Jamaica,
Yeah.
and you just go smile and nod because
Okay.
basically what's happening is people. Well, actually, let's not people. When the women are going through a very personal time,
Mhm.
it's there's a lot of changes in their bodies, a lot of changes in their brain, and it's pretty stressful. And I think there's been a rise in this kind of like, oh, I'm fed up of. You kind of get to this age where it seems like I'm fed up of men telling us what to do.
Mhm.
How dare you not tell me about my body? And I think with the things that have happened, especially in America,
Yes.
Roe v. Wade,
Yeah.
etc., what happens is that women will be like, right, men made this decision, so therefore I'm treating all men the same, and I
Yeah.
totally understand it.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess it's this. I'm secure enough to know that I spent a lot of time learning, coaching, understanding a lot of this stuff.
Mhm.
And also, I get that lived experience is important, but it's not always knowledge.
Yes. Okay. All right. I like that. Yeah. And I mean, there is obviously something about your way that is very conducive to having an open conversation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would have been so turned off and just been like, absolutely not. No, thank you. But I get a sense from, well, we've only just talked recently, but from reading what you've written, I get a sense that you are coming from a good place and you do know what you're talking about. And there's no reason to be, in a flap about it. And I think you're right that this is a very particular age, this kind of perimenopause, 40s and 50s. I'm 49 and I feel like I'm just coming out of that being reactive.
Mm-hmm.
Just being like, okay, it's all right, you can calm the fuck down now.
I'm gonna attack you. Yep, I know.
Yeah. So it is. And it's weird because um this amount of change in the body, which is something I know really well, obviously it's my body, has not happened since I was 11. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's a long time, that's a really long time. So my next question to you is the kind of women who seek out your services
Mm-hmm.
are generally in fairly substantial leadership positions. And I'm guessing, and tell me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing that they already have quite a good knowledge of their body.
Yep,
Yeah? Would that be accurate?
I'd be very accurate. I'd say most of my clients have a fair idea about nutrition, exercise, etc.
Yeah.
They sometimes they remind me of things, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
think they're necessarily coming to me just for knowledge per se.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time they actually come to me for structure,
Uh-huh.
B for insight. And I think this is my superpower, and this is going to be this is going to throw some brains out. So, we talked earlier about I'm a man, I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't have these hormonal issues, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
That's my superpower
Yeah.
because I'm not emotionally invested
Yeah.
in what's going on for you.
Yeah.
I can take my step out and go, okay, I understand how this might feel, but the data is telling us something different.
Yeah.
So one of the things I talk to clients about is I call it the court case methodology, and it's
All right.
so basically when a client approaches me with something, you'll hear these words: I feel, it feels like,
Mm-hmm.
which is massively important. So then I go, okay, cool. Now remove any of those subjective words and just tell me what's happened.
Mm.
And is that true?
Okay.
So once we kind of work through that, what often happens is, um, for example, around food. Food is a classic one, right? I feel like if I eat carbs, I gain weight.
Okay. Okay.
Is a classic one, especially around perimenopause, etc. So I'll ask the question. Well, if we look back at your measurements over the last few weeks and we look at how you've been eating, is that necessarily the case?
Yeah.
And then it leads the woman to be like, oh, actually, let me question that. Is that true? Have I been eating well? Have I been sleeping well? Have I been moving well?
Mm.
Because the human brain loves to put the blame, for want of a better word, on something external to us,
Mm-hmm.
and also onto one thing.
Yeah.
There's always a single point, but all of this stuff that's happening to you right now is multifactorial. It's multiple things. And the more that I can help my women kind of come out of the emotional side a little bit and go, right, let me look at it logically, then they can make new decisions based on data rather than emotion.
Mm.
The same way they do at work. So I'll say to them, I say, right, when you speak to the finance director about what you're going to spend money on, you don't go, oh, well, I think, I guess, I feel like. You say, well, based on the profit of last year, we would expect this. So now you're using data. But what I find is with humans, we put our emotion first rather than the practices we use in business and in our work. We leave that at work and we do this over here when actually those practices are made to optimize the business.
That's really interesting. And I can see how that would work.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I speak to my clients about as well, which is collecting the evidence. Like, get yourself a piece of evidence that this worked really well. Put it in a little box in your brain and then access that box whenever you need to, because that's going to start building the new beliefs that are going to support your goal, what you
Yeah.
want. So, in a way, it's kind of similar, it's a similar approach. Um,
Mm.
in my process, I always look at the body first,
Mm-hmm.
because the body and the mind are two parts of the same system that you just cannot separate.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you approach um, the the disconnect that some women have with their bodies, like not actually being able to sense, because you spoke about, oh, they say, oh, I feel this or I think this. And it's like, it's very up here, it's all very processy. Like, if they're not connected to their body, how do you target that? How do you kind of deal with that? Or do you
So
not to that?
I like to approach both at the same time.
Okay.
So for me, it's very much this. Often we will act in the way that our identity allows us to.
Okay.
So I start there. What's the
Yeah.
identity that this woman who is smashing it at work, running a household, often sorting out kids, sorting out a man child, us men.
Mm.
Um,
Yep.
how what is the reason this powerful woman is now treating her body and her health in a different way?
Okay, okay.
And it's not because of not intelligence. It's not about discipline either. It's never about, because if you've managed to rise up in a company, you need discipline. Like if you had to
Yes.
through uni and whatever, like that's discipline.
Yeah,
So you have it. What I look for first is the stories and the beliefs that we've got about our health first. That's how
yeah.
I start. So that's where I start with what I call the super identity method, where we work through exactly the identity you're showing up as now, and then who do you want to be?
Okay,
So start there.
okay.
Then we go, right, okay, once we've kind of determined the super, and that's a whole long story. Once we've done that, we then look at the data of our bodies. And some of my clients will use pictures. I say to them, look, take a picture. Go and
Mm,
look up, see what you see. Don't get emotional about it. Just make statements.
yes.
Yeah. Statements.
Yeah.
That's all it is. We use things like measurements. I don't use the scale with clients because I don't, the scale can really play havoc with people's minds. So
I
unless you,
haven't had scales for like 10 years for
yeah,
that very reason. I
yeah,
just don't do it.
unless again you relearn to remove the emotion from it and then just actually look at the data. It's,
Mm-hmm.
so most of my clients will either use measurements. We look at things like energy, how you feel, how you perform, etc. And I'll say, look, take a picture. Do once a month. Just look at and then look at what you've been doing. How is that affecting? Because it's one big circle. It'll just
Mm.
go in a circle. So how many times have you shown up as the new identity that you said to you wanted to be, right? So let's say one of my clients, she called herself the High Rocks athlete. Okay, so it's called
Okay.
Helen the High Rocks athlete. High Rocks, for those of you who don't know, is some crazy endurance course thing. So the question then I ask her every week is, this week, have you acted in that identity?
Okay.
And then we can see if her body has also reflected those choices based on that identity.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And then it's part also about going, right, do you feel tired? And it's okay to be tired. Because I think there's a
Yes.
thing for women to want to be superheroes and try and fix the world and save the world, but we all need a team.
Yeah.
And rest is a massive part of what I try to do is get women to calm down.
That was going to be my next question because this is one of the values that is so important to me and something that I also find it sometimes challenging to put across the importance of to other women. And I think that's kind of cultural and I think it's patriarchal. And there are many, many reasons why we
Mm-hmm.
have this thing of being always on. And also, I think technology plays into that. But I'd love to know how is it just repetition? Like, how do you kind of inculcate that into the women that you support? That rest is important.
It's important. It kind of comes back to the identity. So let's just use the client I used a minute ago, Helen. She will be fine with me using her example. When we looked back at her ideal day, so I call this like the health architecture. There was
Mm,
something really stood out to me. I said, "How's your sleep?" And obviously, she
mhm.
talked about her sleeping patterns, and I was like, "Okay." So we looked at the data, and I said, "How do you feel in the morning?" She said, "Oh, I feel tired all the time. Like I don't want to get out of bed." I said, "How do you like to feel?" I'd like to feel like I had a good night's rest and I was ready for the day. So I said, right, okay, so can we see that if you are well slept, you will perform better, you will eat better, make better decisions, you won't want to kill people. Yeah.
Yeah, always a winner. Yeah.
So then I said, okay, so tell me what's driving you to not go to sleep.
Mhm.
And at the time, she was working for someone, and there would be loads of messages on WhatsApp, like after hours.
Yeah.
I said, okay, great. I said, what's the fear of not reading those messages until you wake up? Why are you spending time at night when you should be resting and digesting?
Yep.
And we traced back and it comes back to stories again, or beliefs that if you're not working, then you're lazy.
Yeah.
You have to show up all the time, etc., etc. So I said, right, okay. So what would happen if we broke that belief? And she was like, what do you mean? I mean, what would happen if we got a new phone? You put the
Yeah.
message, and at 6 o'clock every day, you put that phone in the drawer so that you
Yeah.
could eat in peace, digest, spend time with the kids, whatever you want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
2 days later, she got a new phone delivered, moved that phone stuff over. Within about a week or so, she was sleeping 7 hours, 6 hours.
Amazing.
But
So good.
it takes time. So
Yeah.
like repetition, but it's also the belief and identity around the fact that you can't rest. We need to attack that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really interesting that often, this has been my experience, we don't realize how much of this faulty conditioning we've taken on personally. So whether it's like Protestant work ethic or patriarchal system, like I need to work harder than a man or twice as hard, to get ahead, or all of those things. I think because the conscious brain is so like, well, I don't believe that. It's sometimes it can feel really difficult to accept that the subconscious is still running that program. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, oh shit. Like, I didn't want that to be true. Which I guess is where support comes in.
Hmm.
Coming to someone like you to go, okay, do your magic. I'm in. I'm all in. Let's go. Let's target this thing that is troubling me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, yeah, I find it really interesting, and it's almost like we're we're coming at it from two different places. Um, and like you said, this kind of more linear way of which I associate with the male brain and, a very masculine way of doing things is is very different to how I approach, but ultimately it's the same effect at the end.
There's 100 ways to skin a cat, apparently.
I know, I hate that phrase. It's so mean.
Hope you're not skinning cats. That would be
No, it's
terrible.
so very mean.
But
Um,
yeah, I think I think women can get value from both ways. I think they need to
yeah,
find the way that aligns with them.
yeah.
But I find that that's my superpower, and I think also I'll ask the questions that people won't necessarily think of.
Mhm.
So I'm pretty good at watching how people respond and
Yes.
see little inferences in their body language.
Yeah.
I had a client who, whenever we said about sleep, she would do this.
All right, okay.
And I thought, hang on a minute, am I going mad? So somehow in the conversation, I dropped in the word sleep again, and I was like, what on earth is? So I said, can I ask a question? I said, why are your arms crossed now? She's like, are they? I went, yeah. I went, okay. So we went, oh, sugar. I said, yeah, 4 times you've done it, and every time you've responded this way. So just talk to me about about all your thoughts around sleep. What is it?
Okay.
And we actually went back to when she was younger.
Yeah.
In order to be an adult, you had to stay up late, right?
Ah, right. Okay.
If your parents said, "Hey, Greg, you need to go to sleep at 9 o'clock," off you
Yeah.
go. But
Yeah.
the adults, they'd stay up and watch Dynasty or Dallas or whatever it was on at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we actually got to the point where she was like, "Oh man, I don't feel if I feel like I have to go to sleep early, I'm still a child.
Child.
I'm a strong, independent woman." I'm like, so now
There it is.
you have to dismantle
Wow.
that belief. She was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Yeah." So
Amazing.
yeah, that's my. I
So
think that's my
good. It's bringing it to light, isn't it?
if you don't
You
shine a
know,
light on it, then no one can see it.
exactly. No, it's brilliant. I love it. I love it. So typically, how long do you work with someone? Like, do you have an average, or are people all different, or
So worked it out the other day. The average is a year.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so generally, people come to me kind of the when program starts 4 months, and
okay.
then go, Greg, do you know what? We need to stay for longer. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
I know,
I wasn't going to say that, but
but
yeah.
and obviously, I think there's something on my part I need to let go of. I think where I should just say, look, you're going to have to work with me a year, year and a half. I know that.
Hmm.
Let's not hide from the point. I think we've been corrupted so much by the 90 days, do everything in 90 days. And
Same. Yeah.
I think it just generates what I call QFT, quick fix trauma, uh,
Yes.
where women who are already successful, working hard, then load up this new program. Right, I'm
Yeah.
going to exercise right, I'm going to eat lettuce all day, blah, 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 blah. Look great. And then the rebound is massive.
Yeah.
And they can't sustain it. And then they have to find someone else to do it again. This is all over again. So I think, yeah, so most of my clients stay with me a year to work with.
Yeah. I really like hearing that because personally, I feel like that's been a kind of a maturation on my part. You know, when I first stepped into the coaching world, what, 8 years ago or something, I started off with a 6-week program.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably because that's all I could comfortably hold.
Yep.
Whereas now it feels very correct and nourishing to take women on a year-long journey. You know, I've just released something that is for a year, and it feels like, yeah, this is deeply right because I know that homeostasis says the body needs gradual change. Because if you have change that is too dramatic, too quick, then you will get what I call the ping back, you know, or what you
Mm-hmm.
just described as a rebound. And you're back even further back than when you started. So it's better to go slow. But I also know how hard that is when you are feel like you're running at 100 miles an hour to kind of get all the things done. There's no way that you want to go slow. No way. So yeah, that's interesting. How Right, let me give you a quick physical example and you can tell me how you do it. So if I'm teaching yoga,
Mm-hmm.
then if I come into the room, and this happened to me with when I was teaching teens, which I don't do anymore, often they're like really hyper, really full of energy, and there's no way that I can get them in order or get them into relaxation. Like I have to meet them where they're at
Yep.
so that we can go high energy and then we go slow, 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 slow down. So my question to you is how do you meet these women who are probably overachievers, probably very, very competent and work really hard? How do you meet them in order that you can get these messages across, like rest is really important and you need to be tapped into your body and it's not all about the mind? Like how do you do that? If that's not top secret.
First things first, I try to talk about this stuff in my content.
Yes.
So you know that if you come to work with me, yes, there might be a training program, all that other stuff, whatever. But you know that I'm going to be very central about how you're rested and relaxed.
Yeah.
Because if you don't accept it at some point, because for I guess it's very simple. The very simple question I'll often ask someone who's like this, I'll be like, okay, if doing what you're doing worked,
Yeah.
I mean, you got
Why are
the
you
result.
here? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got the results that you wanted.
Yeah.
And then the light bulb comes up because then they're like, oh, yes, you're right.
Mm, mm,
Again, I think we people like us have to have that ability to shine the light and not be like, oh, it's okay, just do more, just carry on. We're going to push you harder.
yeah.
None of that. I think also just being upfront and saying, hey, this is going to take you about a year.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because I think, again, I think that, and when people hear that, you can see them visibly go, oh,
Like a relief.
yeah, they're like, oh my God, yes. Because of the
Yeah.
trauma, right? Um, and also it's part of my process is like, I'm asking you on the daily, especially when we first start, how have you rested today?
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll be quick to tell me, Greg, I've done this, I've got 10,000 steps. I did. Okay, cool. But how have you rested?
Yeah.
And I call that Dr. Quiet, like 4 doctors of
Okay.
health. Dr. Quiet, you
Yeah.
have to tick all the boxes, right? You have to make sure all of them are done. So Dr. Quiet is have you rested, have you read, chilled out, sleep, anything that's kind of parasympathetic, yoga, tai chi, that kind of stuff. So I'm like,
Yeah.
how have you done on your? And that actually teaches the overachiever because it's a box they have to tick, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you play them at their own game. You kind of go, well, actually, you've missed this box, and
Yeah. And then
then so it's
suddenly
like
you're
a
like,
bit of
oh my
like,
God. Yeah. 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 I understand
and then
that.
next week they're like, Greg, I went to yoga 4 times this week, and I'm like, yes.
Brilliant. Love it.
But also, I think here's the other thing. A lot of my clients come to me because they want to look good. That's why I call it $1 million body, because
Yeah.
my firm belief is if you like, there's this whole thing about, oh, I just want to do everything for my health and all this stuff, right? Needs to stop. We love to look good. This is
Of
why I
course.
shave. This is like, and I think women have been told they can't work out and exercise for aesthetics. I think that's a horrible thing that's perpetrated the world now. It's like you must do it for your health. Here's what I find: most of my clients will come to me, and the second thing they say is, "Greg, I've got this belly I want to lose,"
Right.
and it's big because that's stopping them from maybe being intimate, or it's stopping them from wearing the clothes that they want to wear, or whatever, whatever, whatever. So I think that's so if you can show them that actually resting more, being more nourished, actually also leads to look, well, you've dropped 3 inches off your stomach, and we haven't exercised more. We haven't done more stuff. We've
Yeah.
done less. Oh yeah, because obviously their brains are like, must do more output, must do more hit classes, must train harder, lift heavier. And I'm like, you've done a couple of daily walks to calm yourself down. You've eaten some good food, and look, the stomach's coming down. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, it's amazing.
you have to show people, I think, the benefit of what they're doing. I think people need to see that
Yeah.
in order to
Yeah.
start to trust.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard switch to make. I have found in my own life that
Mhm.
I recognize the connection between nervous system health and the ability to be flexible and how my body behaves. I recognize that connection, but I didn't really live it until maybe this year, not at this stage of life, not at perimenopause stage. And
Mhm.
I recognize where the body just is going, like it's holding on for dear life
Mhm.
and it's carrying stuff like in the form of extra weight that is actually, it's mental stuff. And that acceptance and that kind of like, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay. And if you rest more, you take it easy, like it will release. And it's a really different approach to what I feel naturally drawn to, which is like, yeah, do more, work harder, come on, crack the whip. Yeah, exactly.
And I
Exactly.
think there is a place for go hard. Like, so
Yeah.
this is where it gets controversial now. Okay, if we just take purely from a exercise point of view,
Yeah.
any athlete has a period where they work really hard,
Yeah.
then they taper off rest. They work really
Yeah.
hard. So what we'll do sometimes is do like a bit of a mini sprint. We'll say, right, for 6 to 8 weeks, we're gonna push the needle a bit because we've looked at your health architecture. You've got not so many meetings, not so many big projects. The kids have gone back to uni or whatever. Life is going to be a fairly easy now. But once we know, let's say, end of July is coming around, then maybe we'll drop it down a pace because we know you're going to have to maybe deal with the kids. There's going to be more holidays, blah, 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 blah. So I think having that year also allows us to accelerate and decelerate as well. So you got acceleration period, get results, da, 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 then bed in for a bit, chill, relax, calm the nervous system. Then we can go back again. And you'll find that once people understand that, and that's why I say to them, you're an athlete now. So you have to
Mhm.
so you can't go hard all the time. No athlete worth their salt goes hard all the time and gets great results. It just does not
No,
happen.
no.
So
That's even when you go to the gym, you can't do that, can you? Like you can't
no,
because you won't grow your muscles because you do need to have rest days. I know that from a
exactly.
kid.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah,
can't. I think that's the thing. People feel like when they're in the doing is when the growth happens. It's not. It's
yeah,
outside.
yeah.
So I think people will want to smash themselves in the gym, and I'm like, well, this is why you're more tired, more hungry, etc., etc., etc. This is
Mm,
why like hormones is a really big topic right now, and I get in that with that stage of life. It's
yeah,
massive. But what I say to people is this: is that hormones generally react to how you live.
yeah,
They're messengers. They're not kind of actively doing something per se. They're messages that tell an organ or whatever what to do, or some cells what to do, etc. But if you don't sleep, you can't optimize your hormones.
that's right. Yeah.
Like you can go and get all the MHT you want, and for the listeners, that's menopausal hormone therapy. People will normally say HRT, but actually MHT is the correct term. Long story about that,
Okay.
which we'll
Okay.
share that another. That's another discussion. But you can get all the HRT, MHT, whatever you want to call it, as you want. But if you don't start fixing your sleep habits,
Yeah.
then you can't optimize how all your functions work.
Yeah.
If you're
I talk to enough women who have gone down that route. Like
Mhm.
personally, it's not for me, but they're suffering still. They're like hot flushes and da da da. And it's just like, yeah, but look at you going at 95 miles an hour, like most of the time. Maybe that would help if you didn't do that. Yeah. How
definition of insanity.
exactly, exactly. Stop doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
so as we kind of come to a close, do you mostly work in group programs or one-to-one or both?
so I have both. So I have one-to-one clients and I have a group program as well. So $1 million body has a one-to-one element or a group element.
Okay.
For the one-to-one clients, there's a lot more bespokeness. There's more interaction support from me.
Yeah,
But
of course.
my group clients are very well looked after too as well.
Yeah.
This is group coaching calls and stuff in that one, etc. But yeah, you can work on me
Okay.
both.
So when I share this, I obviously want to put something to help people find you. Instagram and Facebook, would that be correct? Or is there
Um,
somewhere better, your website or
I would say LinkedIn and Facebook probably right now. My website
okay,
is I'm still redoing my website, but website is fine as well. I also have a
okay.
podcast as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I just did my first episode back just recently,
Yeah.
just Wednesday. Woo! So it's back.
That's
Um,
exciting. That's what I'm doing.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, I'm back on. I'm like, right, let's get the podcast back up and running. Let's start.
Yes.
So yeah, so I'd say social media to find me, LinkedIn and Facebook are probably my biggest two that you'll find me.
Perfect. Okay. So thank you so much for coming to talk to me. It was very fun.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to press stop on record, but if you could wait so that we can just say goodbye properly. Thank you so much, Greg Fearon.
Thank you for
Million
having me.